Welcome to Soulful Connections, where we skip the small talk and head right into the soul talk. I'm Amanda Solar, and each week we share the kinds of stories that remind us we're not alone. It's about being human, raw and unfiltered, just real talk. Let's connect.
Connection.
I'm here with Valentina Escobar Gonzalez, and she is my new friend. I'm so happy to have her on the podcast. Thank you, Valentina.
Thank you, Amanda, for having me. This is going to be so much fun.
So, you help people with their social media marketing. You are a speaker. You co-wrote, let me look down because I'm going to
The
get
most
the name.
amazing marketing book ever. It was 36 authors from 10 countries. So
Really?
I recommend getting the audible version or the auto version because you get to hear all the different accents. We have someone from Australia, from Italy, from Ireland. Like we have, it's such a cute, it's just, I love listening to accents and you would just get a kick out of it.
Oh, I'm totally going to do that. That
Yeah.
I have my marching orders. That sounds so great.
Yeah.
Um, and that's your background, marketing?
Yeah, so yeah, I studied, I got my MBA, and then the response to everything was social media marketing in my MBA program. Like, we can solve everything with marketing.
Yeah. Is that right? Well, then I think I love that you were in that book and I want all tips, all
Yeah.
marketing tips. Um, However, I probably won't ask you for too many marketing tips because first and foremost, what I want to know is you are living not far from me. We're in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
But you came from Tennessee,
Hmm.
but prior to that, you came from Miami. Can you kind of give me that little
Oh my
trajectory?
goodness, it's a crazy story. Like, if you're interested, get a cup of coffee or a cup
I
of
have
tea.
one.
And let's get started here. So I was actually born in Texas, raised in Miami. Then I left Miami to go to the University of Florida. So I went 2 years of community college, then I transferred to the University of Florida. Anyone that's here, it's a Gator, go Gators. So I was living there, and then in 2008, the magical year 2008, it was a great year to get married. Not so much graduate college, which all happened in the same year for me, but it was a great time to be living in Tampa, Florida, and get married. I had a very economical, affordable wedding because of the recession. And then we left Tampa to go to Tennessee. And right at the last semester of my MBA program, my husband's like, I got a job there. And I'm like, whoops. I have this MBA that I've worked hard for out of my own pocket. And I saw that there was a need for my services. There's no jobs. There's only like one person doing social media marketing at the hospital. And I'm like, there's a need for this. If you are a business, people used to think about the yellow pages. You have to have a digital presence. You have to have a way to have a communication with your customers, with your audiences through the social media platforms. So I created my business in January 2012.
That is so interesting because I'm thinking back as you're talking, like, what was I doing in 2008? And one of
Yeah.
the things I was doing was having my last child who was born in 2009. And I can kind of remember that when she was born, I could post her picture on
Yeah.
social media. And my prior children, there was no social media and I didn't even have a camera that I could just kind of take my own photo. And so you got right in there. I think that's an interesting time.
Yeah, so I got into social media marketing in 2008. So that's
Wow.
when I started reading all the books and just getting obsessed with the topic. It's so funny if I could tell a side story. I know you're going to ask these type of questions. I was obsessed with being a veterinarian, a horse veterinarian. So a lot of my handles on social media say equine Val. So I was obsessed with it. And that's why I left my life in Miami to go 6 hours north. And I didn't know anyone. And I was determined to be a veterinarian. But before I left Miami, when I was in community college, I took one of those career tests and it said you have to do business and marketing. And I'm like, I refuse to do business and marketing. But I went to the University of Florida and I took organic chemistry and I didn't pass. And that changed everything. So I went from animal sciences to animal business. So I was more in the business side of the animal side, like, so, basically pharmaceutical sales or working in a feed company doing sales. That was the plan, was to work in sales. And then when I moved to Tampa, I got a job in sales, but then I started getting into marketing, which is kind of like an invisible way of selling, using social media marketing. So it's funny how, like, you have this path and then you just get pushed in a different direction.
So were you interested in horses specifically?
Yeah, so I studied horse business because I was going into the animal sciences, and I all my classes were related to horses, the anatomy, the nutrition, and even like agribusiness, how to sell. So it was so much fun. And again, the plan was to work for like a pharmaceutical company or a feed company because these people spend thousands, if not millions of dollars on these horses, so they have the budgets to cater to the nutrition and for the pharmaceutical stuff. But yeah, that was my plan. But then I ended up moving to Tennessee, starting my business. I moved on Labor Day, which is what, September, and then I started my business in January. And so it's like it's one of those stories that I loved. I loved it. I was so obsessed with
Yeah.
that. And I was a pioneer, specifically
Yeah.
in Tennessee. I was a pioneer in the area because no one was doing those sort of things. They're like, Facebook who? Facebook what?
That is the truth. That
Yeah.
is the truth. I mean, everybody was like moving off of MySpace in 2008. It was really, so were people like, what are you doing? Did you have to
Yeah.
explain what you were
Yes, I,
doing?
and, I, and to this day, I still have to explain. But for the first 9 years in my business, right before COVID, I was doing the social media for my clients. And then during COVID, I
Mm.
pivoted and I did the speaking engagements more heavily and the one-on-one consultations. And now, more recently, my bread and butter is LinkedIn, helping business coaches, business leaders, aspiring authors grow their presence, utilizing LinkedIn and Instagram as well.
Yeah, that makes total sense because I remember for years and years and years, my LinkedIn presence, I was there
Yes.
and people would ask to be a connection and I would say, all right.
Yeah.
And that was my presence. I mean, every now and then I would think to do something, but
Yeah.
now it is like a big, thriving
It's
platform.
yeah, it's like a thought leadership. It's not where you're supposed to resume. Now it's a platform to show yourself as a thought leader. For the five members are the people that make business decisions. They have two times the buying power. A lot of people get impressed when I say 39% of the population on LinkedIn are millionaires. So this is a type of platform that's more serious, older, more seasoned in their career, and they have more affluent. They're they have more money essentially. But these are people that are ready to make a purchase decision or make a decision, for their business.
Oh, that's fascinating. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'll pay more attention to what I post, Valentina.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Amanda, people don't realize it's not about posting. When you post something on LinkedIn, it gets 1/10 the reach. But when you comment on someone else's post, it gets 1/3 the reach. So
Oh,
your
interesting.
posts don't get as much traction as your comments. In that first hour when you're posting on LinkedIn, it reaches 10% of your audience. So you can't just post and ghost, which means you post something and then you just go on to your next thing. You have to stay tuned in to the comments on LinkedIn.
Oh, I think everybody needs to hear that. I think that alone is an important message. And I know that you have so many messages.
Yes.
So, do you, going back to the veterinarian, do you have animals today? Like, what is your relationship with that world?
So I'm one of those people that if I see a dog walking by, I want to pet it, and the dog jumps all over me. So I love animals, I love pets, but I don't have one. I used to have a dog, a chocolate lab named Hershey that had down 4 years ago, and I loved him so much. I loved him so much. He was one of those things that as soon as I graduated from college, I said, my first paycheck is going to get a chocolate lab. I walked into the shelter in Tampa. And I was determined. A lot of people are like, you're not going to find a chocolate lab. Good luck trying to find a chocolate lab. Those are so hard to find. But as soon as I walked in, I found Hershey.
Wow.
And it was
meant
the
to be.
first.
See, sometimes I think pets can be soulmates, you know? They
Yeah,
really,
and I feel like he was like my buddy, my soulmate. Every picture of me with my children when I was pregnant, he was in the picture with my growing belly.
oh,
He was so important to me that I can't think of
yeah.
loving something as much. So that's why I'm like, you know what? I just can't have a pet right now.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't, it's kind of nice to take a breather. Plus, we were just talking about travel
Yeah.
and before we hopped on, and I have a lot of pets, but travel can be, a
It's
thing.
tricky. Yeah.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
So what was it like growing up in Miami?
So it's so funny that I'm living in Pennsylvania. It's kind of like whiplash because the thing is like I see all the diversity, I see all the languages. People have spoken to me in Spanish and Arabic. Like people think I'm one of them because I have that international name. And it's so funny. And so growing up in Miami, it's a very culturally diverse place. There's a lot of people from, the Spanish speaking countries, but you also get a mixture of all the other stuff, all the different nationalities. Then I moved in Tennessee, which is completely different, but it was beautiful with mountains. And so now I'm in Pennsylvania. It's kind of a mixture. I say a whiplash because it feels like I'm in Miami, especially when I'm in Allentown. I see the diversity, but then I go to the mountains and I see the little hills like Tennessee, and I'm like, am I in Miami or am I in Tennessee when I'm in Pennsylvania? And then going to the Poconos, that was beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you one thing, it's not as warm as Miami.
Definitely, that I can give you. Yeah, we grew up with palm trees and no changing of the leaves. So right now in this beautiful time, the best season of the year, I think. It's so weird seeing the beauty of the fall leaves everywhere. Over there, you would just see a palm tree leaf fall down, and that's it. That was your fall.
Yeah. Yeah. I have only lived in a place with four seasons, so that is kind of unfathomable to me. But how do you feel being here in Pennsylvania? Do you feel content? Do you feel like, because I don't know, Tennessee, it feels very different for me in
Yeah.
personality. And by the way, Valentina, I say that having never been to Tennessee,
Oh my God. Okay.
but in my imagination, like I think of it as the South and I think of it as slower and I think of it as like friendlier,
Yeah.
but I could be wrong.
Yeah, and so it's funny because I feel like everyone's so friendly in the South, but I've only had great experiences here.
Oh,
Like I
that's
feel like
great.
people are even friendlier here in Pennsylvania. And the only thing that the difference is, the big difference since I'm a foodie, like I should show you my phone case. This is how much of a foodie I am.
Oh my gosh. Right. Pictures of food all over the phone case in case you're
Yeah.
not seeing.
Yeah, so I have a phone case that has like all these different desserts and stuff on the actual case. And so the difference is the food. The food is spectacular here. I've probably gained a good 10 to 15 pounds since I moved here and it during the summer months. And it was just it's so much there's so many options, there's so many festivals, there's so many things to keep you busy. But then there's also waves of grief. There's
Mhm.
moments where I miss my family. I miss the family that I had, which is my friends. I miss the people I
Yes.
left behind. And like for Halloween, I got sad when I set up my Halloween
Mm.
decorations.
Yeah.
I said I got a little sad because I'm in a different house. I'm in a different situation. So, there I can say and show all the happy pictures on social media, but with you, Amanda, I can be a little bit vulnerable and say it has its little moments where there are moments of grief. There are moments that I miss my people, especially as we approach the holiday season. There is that disconnect.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you share that, Valentina, because I think that big transition and even transformation come with pain.
Hmm.
Change is beautiful and powerful and also painful and involves loss. And that can be that's good change, bad change, change you've initiated and change that's been thrust upon you. I think sometimes we don't do the best job of acknowledging the pain that can come with change. And it's important to, I think, sit in that and experience because that's kind of where so many lessons are. That's so much humanity lives there.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that you share that. Um, and I have to just do a complete 180 because you showed me food and talked about food. And I'm just going to head into some random fun podcast questions that I like to ask. So, what's your favorite meal?
So when I first moved here, the first day that I moved here, I couldn't get a lot of Middle Eastern food in Tennessee. So the first day that I was here, I went to a restaurant which was Middle Eastern called Aladdin. But the name gives it all. So
That's right.
the first day I moved here, I said the first thing I'm gonna do just to mark that I'm here, I'm gonna go to this place called Aladdin. And I'm not getting paid or endorsed by them. I'm just saying that what happened. And I belly danced. I ate my grapes.
Oh my gosh, good for
Shaving my
you.
weight. I shaving my weight. There's a lot of pictures that I posted. If you look back in June, you'll see the me attempting to shimmy and stuff. But I had a great time. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna mark this first day with a epically. I'm gonna eat the stuff that I couldn't eat that much of in Tennessee and just belly dance with the belly dancer in front of everyone.
I want to do this. You have just given me my marching orders.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm like, that's what I did. And it's one of those things, if you're gonna do something, you do it right. So like I eat Middle Eastern food at least once a week here. Like I just love the different diversities, the different types of nationalities. I hadn't had Dominican food in about 20 years since I was in college. I had Dominican food. So it's like all the stuff that I didn't have before, I'm now eating everything.
Yeah, I love it. Um, if you could, and I know you travel and have traveled a lot of places, but if
Yes.
you could go anywhere, somebody says, Valentina, you can go here, all expenses paid for 10 days.
Yeah.
Where would you go and why?
So that's actually something that's I'm actually thinking about because I just turned a milestone birthday this in August. I turned 40. So I'm actually planning my vacation and I'm like if I'm gonna go the whole way, it's either somewhere in the Middle East and just go to wherever it's possible to go, whether it's the somewhere with deserts or pyramids or what somewhere in the Middle East. So that's what I'm currently trying to look into.
That is so fascinating.
Yeah.
I love that, Valentina. You're an adventurous spirit, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Like there was a trip that I took to southern Spain 2 years ago for my wedding anniversary, and that trip to southern Spain was transformational. That trip, you know when you go somewhere and you're like, oh, you're such in a rush to post the pictures and show off that you were there.
Yeah.
It was such a transformational trip that I'm like, once I post, I hesitated.
Yes. Yes.
I don't think that many people talk about this. I spoke to someone that I knew that went to Africa in a safari, and he's like, I never posted the pictures because it was so transformational for him. He didn't want the world to know. It was something that was sacred to him.
Yes.
I
Yes.
eventually did post the pictures, but there was something about that trip that changed me.
What do
That
you
was
think it
magic.
was?
I think it's just it was unexpected. It was something that I had not thought that I was going to go to Europe. I had been before when I was in college. It was a good 15 years later before when I went, but it was just something about it, something knowing that you eventually descend from that area. So,
Yeah.
I'm Hispanic, so eventually we all descend from Spain. So there was something about the people of southern Spain kind of reminded me of the friendly Southerners that I've been exposed to living in the South for most of my life. Everyone was so friendly and so sweet, and they gave me free stuff. And I'm like, I don't have the fancy Spanish accent that they have, but they got a kick out of my little cute accent that I speak Spanish. And they were giving me free stuff, free drinks, free, like the little fan thingy that you get in Seville. Like, so people were like loving on me. And I'm like, I'm loving on you too. And the first meal I had in Spain was something Middle Eastern. I had something Lebanese. So I had like hummus with pomegranate seeds, baba ganoush. Like I had the good stuff. And it just tastes, the food in Spain tastes differently. There's just something about the food in Europe. Even when I had a croissant in Scotland, I'm like, this, I didn't know a croissant could taste like this.
No, I agree with you because we went to Norwich in the UK, in England, and I did not expect, my perception of the food in England was I thought it was going to be bland, and
Yeah.
the food was incredible. I know exactly what you're talking about. It was so fresh. It wasn't processed. Everything was really fresh and it had breadth and depth and options.
Yeah.
And I also know what you're saying about the pictures. I never post when I'm on vacation. I always, because I want to be on vacation.
Yeah.
And if I'm on social media, I somehow am separated from my experience with my family in this
Yeah.
place. And, and I do understand that about it being just, to me, when I travel, I want to be all there. I want to be as present as I can. And because I know it's limited, I
Yeah.
know I'm going to be coming home. And so, yeah. And I'm not really one, I definitely will, somewhere down the line, it'll make its way onto my social media feed, but it probably won't be 50 pictures. It'll be like a little snapshot of like, you should go because
Yeah.
this is what it's like. Um, so Valentina, what do you think people get wrong about you if you had to say what they might not expect from you?
Yeah, so people think I'm happy-go-lucky, and for the most part, like I addressed earlier, I'm very happy. But there are moments where I get sad, like I said, because of the change, because of the move, and I'm very ambitious. So sometimes I get so disappointed when things don't go my way.
Mm,
And
yes.
and I post happy stuff because no one wants to follow someone that only posts struggles and sadness. So there are days that I am struggling and I'm sad or I'm not happy about things. And I like last week I had to go to a meeting and I had been ghosted by two other people earlier that day. And that third person can't know that two people ghosted me earlier that day.
Right.
And the thing is that I had a reputation where I used to live. I lived there for 13 and a half years. So when I would go to a coffee shop, I would run into people. I would go to the grocery store, I would run into people. Here, people don't know and value me because they don't know what I have to offer. Back there, I knew people knew me. They knew the caliber of work that I would provide, the catalyst that I would, the movement, what I would do to people. Here, people don't know the effect that I have. So when they ghost me, that really upsets me, but I have to put a foot forward. I'll be sad for like 5 minutes, maybe an hour, and then
Right.
move on and have to find the energy. So I put crystals. I hold on to crystals. I hold on to gems and just get energy that way.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a great tip for somebody out there listening because I do think it's really important to acknowledge that it's not all joy and light. And then at the same time, sometimes there's this there's this kind of like a false vulnerability that is out there where somebody is only posting the hard things, but it doesn't ring somehow true.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really an interesting share. Where do you go for joy? What do you do for joy? So, where do you find light in your day? Is there something that either makes you laugh or brings you happiness?
Yeah, so I love my children, being with my family, my husband, my daughters, and watching movies, going to a restaurant, trying something new. But they say something about watching old movies, like watching movies that you've seen a
Mm,
hundred times, that always changes you. That always gets you out of a funk. And the holiday season, I love the holiday season. So this is like, I'm so looking forward to the holiday season in this new place. I know it's going to be magical. I know it's going to be fun. It's going to be different. It's going to be good, different.
yeah, yeah. And you're not far from the town of Bethlehem, and
Yes,
that is truly something during the holidays, you
that's
know?
what they say. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What about, do you have a favorite holiday movie that you watch?
So we watch Home Alone. That's the one that we
Yeah,
watch all the time, every year, all the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Never gets old.
No, there are, and there's something about with your family when you have like a collective movie that you all watch that kind of is tradition.
Exactly.
Ah, yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do, during the holiday season. Um, what about what's a small thing that can make a big difference in your day?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh my, I have to think hard on that
I
one.
know.
I read all the questions you sent me ahead of time.
And then I threw one.
I think, oh my goodness. I think having a good night's sleep is so important. And like, I don't know where I'm gonna get spicy here, but perimenopause could be a tricky thing.
Yeah. Yes.
So if we can just have a good night's sleep, a good breakfast.
Yes. Yes. Well, sleep is underrated. Sleep is, I think it might be like the number one
They
thing.
say that, yeah.
It affects your mood, it affects your diet, it affects your energy level, everything. It's tough. People going through perimenopause or people that just have sleep issues, that is such a stressful thing
Yeah.
for those people. So I can't say just go get sleep.
You have to do it. You have to find it, whether you take supplements or
Yes.
whatever you have to do, the magnesium, whatever it is that people do before they go to sleep. But you have to do those sort of things because it's just harder to get through your day if you don't have a good night's sleep. And
Yeah. And
water. If you don't like before this, we're recording this really early in the day. I've had a bunch of water because they say that your brain's like one-third functional when you are dehydrated. So I drink a bunch of water before I do something important.
Valentina, that is such a tip. And you know what I've had? Coffee, no water. So I'm going to try to, I'm going to try to change.
Yeah.
Um, what about rituals? Do you have any rituals that you incorporate daily?
So I pray when I first wake up and I do some meditation as well. It depends. Like again, if it's a spicy day and the kids are up before they're supposed to be up, it's a different story. But I do pray before when I wake up and then before I go to sleep. And then during the day, if I'm working virtually, if there's like a halfway point, I meditate. I do the Headspace app and I do some sort of meditation during the halfway point of the day.
I was actually going to ask you this random question. Somebody asked me recently if you could maintain only 3 apps on your phone.
Oh my God. Now it's another
But
spicy.
you know what? Let's just say that email app and text app and phone app don't count.
Okay.
3 apps other than them, what would you keep?
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna look at my phone and just open up my phone so I can remember the three that I want to do. So I obviously LinkedIn and Instagram. I don't know if you want to consider them as one. Um, my Duolingo, I am currently learning my language and then music. I think that would
Nice.
make sense. I wish I could add like more apps because I would say like, other than social media, like the chat GPTs, type of thing. But music is something huge. Duolingo would be huge. I love learning new languages. Um, yeah, I wish I could name all the apps. I'm gonna stop there.
Me too. I love Duolingo too. And Valentina, you know what the hardest language for me to learn is? Spanish. I do not know why.
The best way to learn Spanish, I actually learned it through my mom, but I think helped was watching the news, turning on the news and the soap operas. Once you get onto one of those soap operas, you're bound to learn a language.
Well, my mother-in-law did used to watch those Spanish soap operas, but I took French in high school and in college. So
Okay.
I have like a good grasp. So I always tell my husband who speaks Spanish and English, obviously,
Yeah.
um, you should have been French.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually doing French. I did French. I did 5 years of French in middle school and high school, but I'm reteaching myself French right now. But yeah, it's harder. French is much harder than Spanish. Spanish is so much easier because it actually sounds like how you pronounce it.
Well,
Versus
that's true, but
French.
somehow French to me is easier. And I think it's because my mind was so malleable at the time
Yeah.
that I learned it. So it makes sense. Whereas Spanish confuses me because a lot of times they put that me
Yeah.
gusta, instead of just saying like yo gusta, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
That's
where's
the
the
thing.
me?
Yeah, the with the French to me, it's like, if it ends with an A or an E, it's easy in Spanish, because the to me is the stuff that ends with an A or E and it's the same thing, la or el. That's super easy, but in French, it could be either thing if it ends, regardless of how the word ends.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even know that there was a secret for the Spanish. I love Duolingo for that too, though. And I have a meditation app too. I have the Chopra meditation. I forget what it's called, but I do that same thing in the middle of the day. I think that's so important to kind of recenter because
To
the day
come-
happens.
Yeah.
And what about if you could have a couple of hours with three people,
Oh my goodness.
dead or alive, people that you knew or people that you wish you knew,
Mhm.
who would they be?
So I love that. Three people. If it wasn't my husband or my kids, that would be like my default. But my grandma, because they say I'm very like her, and I never got to know her. She passed away when I was small, so I would love to know her. I'm very supposedly very identical to her personality and everything. Another person that I would say would be Sarah Blakely. I'm obsessed with the lady that founded Spanx.
That's
She's
interesting.
also from Florida, and I just love her way of her struggle, how she started her business with $5,000 from selling fax machines. I think she has a very interesting story, and she's not a typical businesswoman. It was like me. It's hustle, it's working hard, it's learning how to be scrappy, like all that sort of stuff. The stories
Mhm.
that she says, that I've heard her say in the podcast of how she started at Neiman Marcus, having her products there, how she would display the Spanx and just the scrappy ways that she did things. I just love that. I can't think of a third person because those two are such profound people. But
That's
yeah,
really
those
cool.
come to mind.
It would be so interesting to see your grandmother interact with the Spanx lady. I don't remember her name,
Yes,
but
yes,
yeah.
Sarah Blakely. Yeah.
Do you know anything about your grandmother aside from the fact that she was similar to you?
She used to wear a lot of jewelry. I just like she was like I used to I wear a lot of statement pieces. I'm not wearing them right now, but I hear that I was very similar to her, and that's what I want to know. I want to know why we were so alike. Why
Yeah.
we looked alike too. So I want to know why I'm so like her and why we looked alike. I want to see the resemblance. And it's funny, I don't know if you're into dreams, but I dream about her. I dream about this beautiful house surrounded by plants, and I'm a big plant lady. I had to get rid of my all my plants when I moved up here, so that was really tough on me. But I just dream about her, and I dream about her in a room surrounded by plants. And you know how things are in Central America, that there's a house, and in the middle of the house has that yard. I don't know what
Yes.
that's, but it's a house, and then the inside of the house has like a little patio. There's grass, there's trees and stuff like that. So I just envision, I dream about her. And I don't know about you, Amanda, if you are into dreams, if you're into dream interpretations, but I feel like it's always good to have that stuff. It keeps you hope.
Yeah, and she's connected to you. Is she from Central America?
She's from, yeah, my parents are from Nicaragua, so she's from there.
Oh, that is really a gift that you dream
I'm
that
a big
dream.
dreamer.
It's so cool. That is really great. Um, and what about, are there any like books that have impacted you or that just pop out when I say the word books or even media?
Yeah, so I'm actually be seeing my mentor tonight. He's coming into the area, so I'm gonna drive to Jersey tonight. But his book, Known, it's a marketing book, but it's a book that really propels you and pushes you. If you think you're known for marketing, or you're known for coaching
Ooh,
or soulful coaching or
yeah.
life coaching, he kind of helps you drill down to a specific niche or niche, however people pronounce it. So it's such a good book, and it comes with you can order the workbook, and it really drills in what you are meant to say, what you're meant to post, what it really makes you work really hard for it. And I think he's going to be writing a second edition of that book. He wrote it over 10 years ago. And that there's a life before Valentina, reading that book, and life after. Kind of like when
Mm.
people say life before COVID or life after COVID. This book is life before Known, life after I read the book Known by Mark Schaefer.
Okay, well, guess what? You sold me. So, Valentina, if you got to whisper something in the ear of your 14-year-old self,
Mm. I
what do
feel
you
like I'm
think?
being EMDR right now.
What do you think you would tell her?
What I keep my motto is carpe diem, like seize the day. So that's what I would tell her, to keep just getting the most you can out of a day. That's what I would tell my 14-year-old self.
And what do you think if she, that 14-year-old self, walked into your home right now.
Oh my God, this is like EMDR, man.
Is it? I've never done EMDR. Now I want to do it.
Like, it's funny you're saying, like, the first time we spoke, I got a little emotional. I got teary-eyed. Um, this is typical EMDR stuff, by the way. If anyone's tuning into this call and has done EMDR, this is exactly what they talk about. It's like, what would you tell yourself?
Really?
You gotta have a box of tissues. I'm looking for my box of tissues is over there. You gotta have a good box of tissues and herbal tea to get through that question, Amanda.
Okay.
It's just gonna be a whole other podcast episode. But I think she'll be really proud. And she'll be like, I can't, like, I even tell my husband, we're both from Miami. I can't believe we're in Pennsylvania. Like, God, here we are, two kids from Miami, Florida. We see palm trees. We only wear a sweater for decoration purposes because our mom forced us to for Christmas in December. But you live in a bikini all year round. So who would have thought that two kids would end up meeting in college and end up in Pennsylvania? Like we still can't believe that we're in this state. Like we're 8 hours north from where we were before in Tennessee. So she would be proud of me. She would be very happy with the life that I have had and built. So to not get emotional and get a box of tissues, that would be the answer.
I love that is one of the joys of sharing a journey with somebody too, that you have somebody that you can turn to and say, can you believe this? Or even if something's bad, you can go, can you believe this? Like either way, just sharing that journey is really powerful. And then finally, Valentina, what does soulful living, if you hear that phrase, what does that mean to you?
God, that could be so many things. It could mean that chicken noodle soup that I'm following right now, that it warms your soul. It's being intentional. I think it's being meaningful and doing those things that really puts good out there in the world.
Well, I can tell you, you are one who does put good out into the world. When you are present, there is a light. And this is only the third time I've been in your presence, but you
Thank you.
just bring the joy. And you bring the joy, even if you're talking about something hard or something sad. So that is just a beautiful quality. I appreciate you. And I'm so thankful that you're a guest on the podcast and that we've made this connection.
Thank you so much, Amanda. This has been so deep, so soulful. Thank you so much for
Yay.
having me.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. Thank you for being a valued part of the Soulful community. Thank you to William Aronson for writing, recording, and producing the Soulful Connections theme song. And finally, always know you're not alone. We are connected. We're all in this thing together, and you and your story are important. Let's just keep on connecting.